All right, listener name, buckle up. We're going deep into SQLite databases today. Specifically, something I know you've been exploring, the limit clause.
Yeah.
Ever feel like you're just staring into like a bottomless pit of data?
It's a common feeling, especially with, the sheer volume of information we deal with these days.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Totally.
But the limit clause, it's
Yeah.
like having a precision faucet for your data.
I like that.
And this tutorial from plus2net.com, which of course we'll link in the show notes,
Right?
really breaks down how it works.
They use a great analogy in the tutorial, comparing it to choosing the perfect ingredients for a recipe.
Okay.
You don't just use everything in the pantry.
Right.
You select what you need for that dish.
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So instead of pulling in this massive data set and then trying to like sift through it all,
Right.
limit lets you say, hey, SQLite, just give me these few rows right here.
Exactly. It's about efficiency and control.
Okay.
And the tutorial dives into practical applications of this.
Okay.
Imagine you're building a website to showcase products,
Yeah.
but you only want to display, say, the top 10 bestsellers on the homepage.
Right.
Limit lets you grab just those 10 entries without overwhelming your website's performance.
So it's not just about managing data on the back end.
Right.
It directly impacts like what users see.
Absolutely.
Like how smoothly a website runs.
Think about those load more buttons you see on websites.
Oh, yeah.
That's limit in action, pulling in data in manageable chunks to keep things zippy.
Wow. That makes a ton of sense. And speaking of websites, I'm remembering this time I was trying to build like a really basic contact form.
Right.
And someone mentioned something called SQL injection.
Yeah.
And it sounded kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like someone could hijack my entire database
Right.
just through a form submission.
Absolutely.
The tutorial seems to touch on this too.
It does, and that's where the importance of using limits securely comes into play, especially when you're pulling in data that might be coming from external sources, like user input on a website.
Right.
The tutorial really emphasizes the use of what are called parameterized queries.
Okay, so parameterized queries.
Yes.
Break that down for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm just now encountering this for the first time.
Sure.
What's the connection to limit?
Okay.
And why should our listener care?
Think of it like this. When you use the limit clause in your code, you're essentially telling the database, give me X number of records.
Right.
But what if that X is being influenced by data coming from a user on your website, and that user has malicious intent?
Ooh, right. Like they're trying to trick my database into doing something that it shouldn't?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the essence of SQL injection.
Gotcha.
But parameterized queries act like a shield.
Yeah.
Instead of directly inserting that potentially risky data into the limit clause,
Okay.
you use placeholders represented by question marks in your code.
So it's like building a secure pipeline.
Yes.
Where the data has to go through a security checkpoint before it even gets close to my database.
You got it.
Okay.
And the beauty of the plus2net tutorial is that they don't just talk about this conceptually. They actually show you how to do it.
Nice.
They walk you through the code step by step using the PDO extension in PHP, which is the most robust way to interact with databases securely.
So they're not just telling you what to do, they're showing you exactly how to implement it in a real-world scenario.
Precisely. And by following their lead,
Yeah.
you're not only using limit effectively to control your data, you're doing it in a way that protects your database from potential attacks.
Right.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win. This is reminding me of that old saying,
Yeah.
an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Right.
Building those secure coding practices in from the start can really save you a lot of headaches down the line.
Absolutely. And what's great about what we've covered with limit is that it's not just specific to SQLite. It's a concept that translates to other database systems as well.
So it's like learning the grammar rules of a language.
Right.
Once you understand the concepts, you can kind of apply them in different contexts.
Exactly.
Right.
Limit, or its equivalent, exists in various forms in many database systems.
Okay.
So the knowledge you gain here is incredibly versatile.
Okay. Listener name. So we've gone DAP on using limit for efficiency for better website performance. And we've even touched on the importance of security.
We have.
Is there anything else this little clause can do?
Right.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
Okay.
The tutorial focuses on the fundamentals.
Right.
But as you start combining limit with other SQL clauses,
Okay.
a whole world of possibilities opens up.
Ooh.
Imagine you want to display the top 5 rated products from your database,
Okay.
but you only want to show items that are currently in stock.
Okay. So it's like setting up a chain of commands.
Right.
First, find the top rated products.
Yes.
Then narrow it down to those that are in stock.
Yeah.
And finally, use limit to just grab those top 5 results
You got it.
from that refined selection.
And this logic applies to so many scenarios.
Okay.
From displaying recent log entries with specific error codes to
Right.
segmenting user data based on certain criteria.
Wow.
The ability to precisely control your data flow is invaluable.
This entire deep dive has been like adding a whole new toolbox to my data wrangling arsenal. So listener name, we've given you the power of limit. How you wield it is up to you. But here's a final thought to ponder as you continue your SQLite adventures.
Yeah.
We've talked about using limit for grabbing chunks of data.
Right.
But what if you flipped the script? Could you use it to say, identify and exclude specific outliers in a data set? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you in the next one.